Alright, so here's my 2006 Nissan Xterra. And there was actually nothing that I could see wrong with the radiator, but because of the issue that we've got with the oil, the transmission coil inside of the radiator, which is prone to leaking. So there's your two trannies that are at the bottom. That coil in there on the Nissans, 2005, 2000 to 2010 Nissan Xterra and Frontier are prone to leaking, and then I guess it degrades inside. The transmission coolant mixes with the engine coolant, or the transmission fluid mixes with the engine coolant, and everything just sort of comes apart. I was told that by Nissan that it would cost, I think, about $8,000 to repair or more. So anyway, for $300 I'm going to fix this. I'm just going to change it and have peace of mind. So this is how to change it. I'll just tell you quickly what I did on here. So on the bottom, there's the skid plate. Under there, remove the skid plate. I think in all I used an 8, 10, and 12 millimeter ratchet and wrench. And then what you want to do on here is you want to remove these screws right here. These two screws. Wiggle this back a little bit, and that exposes these two, because this needs to come off. Okay, so you're going to loosen this. Those two, those have to come out. And then this one here as well, and then wiggle that out. Alright, the top, this piece here, comes off by, just has these clips, these push pin clips, that you lift the center out with a screwdriver. Try not to break them, they break easily. Lift the center out and then just pull it out. And then on the back, it's really not much to this. You've got these four clips here. I'm trying to show you. These four clips at the bottom. So here's the top, the push pins. And you have these four pieces here, and all you do is you get your hand back there and push this up and pull it out. So it's quite simple. Okay. All right. So I loosen these bolts here. Remove this. Just push this back. If you loosen the air cover and wiggle it off, it goes a lot faster. I'm going to reuse the fluid in here because it's draining into a bucket, and I'll filter it and pour it back in here because it's not that old. Don't leave that stuff laying around. Kids and animals seem to be attracted to its sweet smell. So if you look at the radiator over here, this is the bottom left, and there's the drain right there, so I'm draining it. Loosen the cap, and that will sort of speed up the process. The other thing too is you need to remove the cowling here and the fan blade. There's two fans, electric fan, and there's a bolt there that you're going to remove, and it just sits in a footing at the bottom. And then there's two 10 millimeters here for the cowl. This is the top. When you remove the skid plate on the bottom, the important thing is you have to remove this piece. This is on the bottom. It's all clipped in, be careful not to break them. If you remove this part, this will lift right out, and it's going to give you the room that you need to work in. Trust me, you will not get it out and installed successfully if you leave that stuff in there. So this comes out, the fan cowling, two bolts there, and then you remove the fan. Go. Alright, so pliers. These are the ones you want for removing all of these clamps, big and small. Yeah, so actually let me just take this off the cap. Reuse my cap. Just push this back, and then wiggle that off. That needs to get out of the way. You'll see some clips and whatnot as well that you'll not want to break. There's the big one here. Fluid's still draining, it takes a while, so you start that early. And then that. There we go. That's off. This is the cowling, the 2 bolts that were here. I'm going to take that out with the, wait a minute. I didn't take that out all the way. There's the electric motor. The other thing too you're going to want to do, you're going to have to see this here. Here, you see this? Right there. See if I can point to it right there. This clip here. Take a screwdriver on the far side here, and you push it, and you push something in, and it lifts out. And once you lift the top part out, the bottom part slides off of this. So you have to remove that before you can proceed. Here. Clips off. Just gotta. One thing you want to do is, see this? This sits down in there like that, and that attaches there. Here's the clip. So what you do is you push this in with a screwdriver on the side, right there. So you slide like a flat screwdriver in there and push it, and then you can lift it out. And then when you do that, screwdriver would go right there and then lift it out. And then this, if you want to remove it, you could wiggle that off and it slides down. I don't think you need to remove it though. Alright, next step is remove the fan. You've got, what is this, 10? You have 4 10mm bolts on here, and then this comes out, and then you're pretty much that's pretty much it. You'll have your radiator exposed and ready to go. Maybe if I loosened it, not tightened it. So here you are. As I said, 4 10mm bolts out. And once that's out, be careful. Don't grab it by the fan blades. You're going to break them. As you can see, everything is here. If you want to change, I changed the thermostat not too long ago, which is here. There's the thermostat right there. It's that big piece. It's about $32 or something. And then this is your bottom hose, which will be disconnecting soon. I bought a new one. I didn't change the top, but I got a new lower hose. I figured that's the nasty one. If something goes wrong and you need to change it, the top one's easy enough, and you won't lose much liquid or fluid. So the next step is to remove all of the hoses and the transmission lines as well. So you've got hose, transmission line at the bottom, transmission line, and you need some plugs to plug the lines as soon as you undo it so you don't lose too much transmission fluid. And then that's it. After then we'll loosen a couple other bolts here and take out the rad. And you've got the condenser which sits directly in front of it, and then which is going to stay there. Alright, on we go. So here's the rad. So this is the bottom hose here, and then here's the transmission line. I just popped a pin in there just to stop it leaking everywhere. And I'll throw that out afterwards, and I'm going to do the same. I just used the plastic end to block that up. And then I'm going to remove the other one, which is right there. And that should be it, I think. I can loosen a few more bolts and take the rod out. Alright, so here we go. Everything's disconnected, the shroud's out, the fan, all that stuff you need to get out of the way so that you can get your radiator in and out. Two 10mm here, this is coming off, and at the bottom, I believe there are two on each side coming in this way. There are two, and I think it's 12mm bolts, and those I'm going to remove right now, and then I'll come up here and I'm going to take these off. Here's your 12mm bolt here, one on each side, at the bottom of the rad. So this holds the rail in and kind of holds everything together. Oh, geez, don't do that. And get the other one. Okay, so the bottom side 12mm bolts are out, 10mm. That comes out, that lifts off, do it on both sides, and then set that aside. Okay, so when you get these brackets off, push this forward and you'll see there's a 10mm here that needs to be on each side, and these are the last, I forgot about these are the last bolts you need to remove. And then you'll be able to lift the radiator out. Condenser stays there, doesn't come out with the rad. Kind of rests on it. Alright, so anyway, I got those bolts off, and you wiggle this around and this just sort of comes out nice and easy.
Recording.
These rails, if you want to see what it looks like inside without the rad, these actually just lift out. These rails just kind of sit there. So if they're tilted out a little bit when you put the rad in, you'd be able to wiggle everything in there. Of course, you don't want to damage this at all. Just be careful. So that's what I'm going to do now, is just fit the new radiator in its place. As gentle as can be with my new one. Figure out now how the heck do Alright, so there it is. You see, you got to wiggle it a bit to get it in there, and then you sort of have to come up and catch the pins in there. So now it's all loose, and I'm gonna go and put in the two 12mm. Oh no, wait a minute before I do that. Yeah, I'm gonna put the 12mm bolts in right now. Okay, 12mm bolts are in. These are 10mm here. Put these in. Okay, just putting the condenser on here. Now those bolts are on. So we're going to put these in. Before you screw it on, you might want to give everything a nice wipe down before you put everything back on. Alright, just a quick tighten on there.
Pause.
Okay, so got my bottom hose on. I hooked up my transmission lines again. Don't forget to top up your transmission fluid. Make sure you've got the right amount. When you put this back in, it says right there, front. That's where that goes, right here. And then, all right, so fan is on. Got that done. What I'm going to do now is put the cowling in, and then I can hook up the stuff at the top. Even if you just sit it in there, you got to get it in before you do this stuff here. So this is the front part. Okay, so we're going to put this in, and it goes this way, but I'm just showing you. So this sits in the bottom of the rad. and this just bolts in the top. It kind of floats freely there. If you wanted to disconnect the wire, you could, but I'm just going to put it in all together. Okay. Try not to wreck your fan. Okay, so you know what, you wiggle, you poke, this thing's a little flexible, and this will slide down in there. Just be careful, you got some wires over here and little bits and bobs that you don't want to catch and, you know, cause and damage. And like I said, this thing, the fan sits in the footing, the bottom of the rad, like that, and this comes up like this. I'm going to bolt that one right now. I have a feeling this might be too long for that. Okay, so rad is in. These are screwed in here. This, your electric fan, hook this back up, the overflow, and you know, you plug it in. It's got some clips here that it clips into. The electrical plug is plugged in for the fan down there, don't forget that, or you'll be overheating. And this is back on. What else have I done? Tightened everything up, and I'm just getting ready now to, I think I'm going to put this stuff back on before I fill it up. And then I'll put on the bottom and the front parts once everything's running correctly. Alright, so everything's been tightened up, put back in place. I don't have the front piece on, or the under part of the cowling and the skid plate, but all the top parts are on. I'm going to start it up, check it out. Don't forget to top up your transmission fluid with the right fluid. If you lost, well, you're going to have to top it up regardless. And you know where that is. Transmission is right here. It doesn't look like a little dipstick. It's got a, it's just like a flat top. It has an 8mm bolt that you have to unscrew to get at it. So don't forget that. Okay, so there's your transmission dipstick here. And this is it out, and that's the end. See, it's actually a 10mm on the end. You can just check the level on that. I'm using, I think it's like Nissan Matic J or whatever, transmission fluid, but that's what I'm using. Castrol Import Multi-Vehicle. And on the back it sort of covers the transmission fluid you need. I was low already, so I'm thinking I need at least half of this. And the other thing I didn't add on here is there is a warranty coverage in Canada for problems if you encounter this problem, but it's you should have received a letter in the mail. Up to 100, they cover everything up to 130,000 kilometers, and then after that it sort of diminishes. I'm at the point now where if I do have this problem, they'd cover, I'd have to pay $2,500, and then they'd cover the rest. And then when you hit the next level, it decreases from there. I think up to a maximum of 10 years. Okay, when you fill this, I fill this to the top. What you're supposed to do, you can squish the hose to sort of get the fluid going. You're supposed to run the engine until the valve opens and you start circulating. You're going to see it's going to drop at that point, and you can top it up. I'm running like, I don't know, probably 60 or 70% Prestone in here. But I'll run it or go for a little drive, a short drive, warm it up, get the fan on, and then make sure it's not too hot when I open it, just warm. Otherwise you don't want it exploding on you. And I'll top it up, and then that should be it. Should be good to go. I'll check the transmission fluid one more time. Alright, here she is all buttoned up. we're gonna just go for a little drive and then check the fluids again. This will need to be topped up for sure, but everything should be fine, and hopefully I'll have saved myself a lot of pain and suffering down the road by doing this little job now. Anyway, hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching.